We seem to be getting a very big shakeup with a lot of really cool cards already being revealed. We don't have the patch notes yet, but we have a lot of cards that were revealed during the Lobby of Legends live stream, which I'm gonna go over real quick. Now there's no camera, and I might also sound a bit different because I'm sick, but instead you can watch this. This will be a representation of me. The first thing revealed was returning hero Lady Vash. Your hero power used to just evolve cards in your tavern whenever you level, but now it's a 1 gold hero power. Relics of the Deep, discover a spellcraft spell of your tier or lower. Passive, your first one each turn is permanent, so however you generate spells with spellcraft, the first one you play every turn will be permanent, so you don't even really need Lava Lurker anymore. Let's say you have a cleave early, putting +8 attack on that every turn is pretty good. At first you can probably just use this hero power to get that spell every turn and get your permanent buff. Later on it's probably less valuable if you just have a card on the board that gives you spellcraft, because that is way more consistent and you don't need to use the gold. I think this is especially good if you have synergies with your spells, so let's say you do have Lava Lurker or Atissa on the board or a Brute, just something more than that passive buff that you get. We'll have to see how it plays out. I don't think this hero is insanely strong. Like, the passive is alright, but it doesn't really compare to some of the other stuff that we see. Also, I don't really see how you would be using this hero power. I think if you stay on 1 and hero power every turn, all you get is the +2 attack. Do you really want +2 attack for 1 gold every turn? Probably not. Now, this is an interesting card coming to Battlegrounds. It's a 1-drop, a beast, and it is called Silverback Patriarch, which is a very classic, really bad standard card. It's a 1/4 taunt. I think it's just whatever. It's not an amazing card. Stat line is okay. They might be removing and replacing beasts for this though, so this might mean Alley-Cat is gone or Hyena. I have no clue, or maybe it's a third beast being added. We don't have that information yet. We probably get patch notes on all of this soon, so if you're not yet subscribed, like 60% of the people watching this video, click that subscribe button if you want to see other potential changes and additional info. Now, Tavern Tipper is a really interesting 1-drop that we're getting. It's also a neutral. If you have any unspent gold at the end of your turn, gain +1/+2. I don't really see how you make this work early on. Leaving a gold is horrible. Now, if you do a farm curve, you could just leave a gold every turn, sure. But there's a lot of cool token plays where you can instead fill out the board. I don't think a scaling 1-drop like this is gonna be that good, especially since it's a neutral. I don't see how you fit this in your comp late game. Overall, I think this card is gonna be pretty bait. I would not take it. I would not flow the gold every turn just to grow this a little bit. I mean, look at Wrath Reaver, look at other scaling on lower tiers. It's way better to go with those because those can actually transition and pivot and you don't literally waste money. But a very interesting concept. It's really cool to see them explore having unspent gold as a mechanic. Kooky Chemist. Now this one I'm actually excited for. It's a 2-star neutral 4/4. Battlecry, swap the attack and health of a minion. There's a lot of things that come to mind. For example, if you're playing Pyramid and you're buffing a Hydra, like really high health, use this card, suddenly it has 1,000,000 attack. So there's a lot of cool interactions, I think, especially with hero powers, maybe with some buffs, maybe on Vol'jin. Let's say you play a Battlemaster, swap the Battlemaster, put that onto a Deflectobot or a Cleave. Come up with your best strategy as well and leave it in the comments below, because I mean, my mind just keeps on racing on all of the applications that this card can have and the cool interactions that it allows. Sparring Partner is a 3/2 neutral, also on tier 2. Taunt, Battlecry, give a minion taunt. So it's kind of like an Argus, but without the +1/+1 buff and only 1 minion. This is pretty bad. It has a bad stat line. You don't just randomly want to give a minion taunt. I mean, unless you have Arm of Empire, but that's a free drop. And even then, I feel like this card is kind of unnecessary. A little bit of a filler, because I don't see the application for it. We also have Irel, which is a 2-star neutral 1/5. After this attacks, give a friendly minion of each minion type +1/+2. So it's a spawn basically, but instead of giving your entire board +1/+1 on death, it gives +1/+2 to each friendly minion type. Honestly, it's a worse spawn, because this card forces you to have multiple minion types already on the board really early on. Spawn is way more flexible in that way. It has 5 health, so it's less likely to be sniped. It usually gets value. It could even trigger twice, which is an upside, and it's more stats, so a lot of it points towards it being better. But usually when you're on tier 2, you don't have that much of a diversified board. Also, if you have more neutrals on the board, those also don't get buffed. I think it's situational. Sometimes this card is gonna be decent, maybe better than spawn, but most of the time it's just less consistent. It's interesting though. You don't really build a Kripparrian or anything. It's purely a tempo spike that you want to play from time to time. Then we have a 4-drop dragon, a 3/6 Archamedes. Whenever this attacks, deal 3 damage to the target and its neighbors. It's kind of like a cleave, but also not, because it only deals 3 damage to all of them. And it does trigger the 3 damage first before attacking in itself, so it counts as Divine Shields. This might be replacing Prester, because Prester has been known to be a really oppressive card, and is actually a really cool design. You basically remove the Divine Shield shield of whatever you attack into. So a Prester, but it only works on itself. And potentially, if people don't play around this, you could remove some more shields or even kill something like a Leroy, but that would actually not be that good because you would just kill off this card yourself. I kind of like this design. I think it's pretty cool. Previously as well, you could have a big Amalgam or just any big dragon like a Chroma Wing, put it in front, play a Prester, and then just kill any big Divine Shield taunt. Now you actually have to scale this card up, this specific card, if you do want to deal with a good Divine Shield taunt, or just play a bumper, of course. We don't have confirmation that this replaces Pyro-Spawn, but I mean, it looks like if Pyro-Spawn and this card would be in the game, dragons would be very toxic. Tunnel Blaster is coming to Battlegrounds. Now this is a weird card to see. It's just a neutral Tier 4, 3/7. It has taunt and death rattle, deal 3 damage to all minions, so it's kind of ghoul, but just more damage, and it's tier 4. Now the only good application that this has is that it counts as Leroy better, because with ghoul you would need like a Baron or maybe have the Leroy attack into ghoul. This guaranteed kills a Leroy if it's not gemmed up enough. Of course you can still gem it or buff it in any way that it could survive the hit. I don't know, this card also seems like a bit of a filler. I don't really see, I mean, you could do some combo compositions, you could just play this, then play some bombs, a Kangor, you know, all that meme stuff. That'd be kind of interesting to see, but realistically this is not going to see too much play. Wargear, the tier 4 5/5 mech, which is magnetic, meaning you can put it onto any other mech. It's a really good buff. +5/+5 is really good, especially for mech, because it can land onto a Divine Shield. The main issue is that this buff gets taken out of the pool, so while clunkers or any other buffs you basically play and then sell back so you can refine them, once people start picking a couple Wargears and you just have them on the board, they're removed from the pool and no one will be able to find them anymore. It's interesting, and that's about all I can say for this card. It doesn't really have any special applications except for just a buff that is limited. And now a 6 drop, a 5/6 neutral, Uther the Lightbringer. Battlecry set a minion's attack and health to 15. It's a good buff. Let's say you just found like a Hydra in shop, making it an instant 15/15 is nice, but I mean then you have to triple into this as your 6 drop or just roll it and then you're already tier 6. I would assume you already have a decently big board. The biggest upside from this is max again. Using this on a magnetic card is huge. So max actually have another reason to level to 6 now. Normally you would stay tier 4, but now going to 6 is going to allow you to find this, use this onto a menace, and then suddenly you have a huge deflector. Other than that, I don't know what you would want to buff. This can buff neutrals as well, so it's a way to kind of buff up neutrals without having to taunt it with Argus and Scavenger. I think it's interesting. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think you will be happy when you triple into this, but it's pretty decent tempo. It's just not really direction. Those were the cards so far revealed. Again, we still need the patch notes, so maybe there's more. All we can do now is wait. Thank you for watching.